Hello everyone, and welcome. After that camping trip last week and I had a lot of firewood left, I said I was going to come back and just have a lunch and have a bit of a fire, use up some of that wood. I left my tarp covering it to make sure it stays dry, and it's a good thing because it's snowing a little bit this morning. So we're going to head over there, and I think I just might set up a tarp and we'll have a small fire and have a simple lunch. So I'm standing right where we had the tent last weekend. But because of this snow, I think I need to set up a tarp. And the trees are just a little too far apart here, I think. But the firewood is right behind this mound. And just to my right here, there's a bit of a clear area. And there's lots of trees there I think I can set a tarp on. Let's take a walk and have a look. So this is the spot where the tent was. Just behind this little tree here is the little mound where the firewood is. But if we look to our left here, there's a bit of a clearing right in here. So I think if I tie a line from this tree over to this tree, I can set up a tarp here and we can have a small fire. I've got my tarp, the 9x9 by East Hill Outdoors. Came with the hammock that I had bought. I've got my Keep It Super Simple ridgeline. Look at it. Ridgeline's nice and tight. Now I take this prusik loop. There's a loop in the end of the tarp here. I push the prusik through that loop. Then I put my toggle through the prusik. Might be easier if I take these gloves off, because that toggle is just a little bit big. I may have to switch out this prusik at some point and make it a little bit bigger to accept that toggle, or whittle that toggle down. And now I can apply all the tension I want. That tarp will be nice and tight. Okay, tarp is set up. But I want to clear just a bit further back. I don't want the fire under the tarp. I want it just to the outside. That way, hopefully the smoke won't curl in here and smoke me out of here. But I've got this corner raised higher than that corner. And the back corners, this one is a little higher than that one. Hopefully when the snow builds a bit, I can just tap the tarp and everything will fall on the back corners. So when I was out last weekend and we spent the night in the tent, as soon as I set up my chair, I broke it. Now, when I got home and I was putting my gear away, When I bought that chair, it came as a set of 2. So I decided to keep it for spare parts. So I wrote broken on the bag. Hopefully you were able to see that. Now, Monday it was cold, too cold for us to work, so I ended up with the day off. I set up the broken chair in my living room. I took a couple of pictures. I wrote a nice email to Nice C, the company from the chair, and I explained to them I've had this chair for 8 months. I took it out on the weekend. It was cold and it broke. Maybe there's a way that you can find a way to build that frame where it's not using plastic so that we can use it in our Canadian winters without breaking them. Or find a better plastic that won't freeze and break as easily. Within about 15 minutes, they sent me an email reply back and basically said, our plastic should be tougher than that from the testing we've done. So you probably had a faulty chair. Give us your address. We're going to send you a whole new frame. So they sent me the frame. It came in on Wednesday, and now I had to write not broken on the bag. So now we're going to set up with the new frame. And because this frame is new, all the holes are nice and snug. But I was very happy to see that the company was willing to send me a whole new frame. I thought for sure after 8 months, there's no way. So that's very good on them. Now it's the same seat back and everything. They just sent me a new frame itself. But like I said, I sent them the email on Monday. They replied within a matter of 10 or 15 minutes. I gave them my new address. And the new frame was in on Wednesday. Perfect. And we're back to being comfortable. Now I'm going to close up this bag. Now, when I was putting away my gear, I was also going through some of the stuff that I have, and I noticed that I like to keep a couple of those freeze-dried meals or the dehydrated meals just for emergencies. I always have 1 or 2 in my pack with me. Something happens, there's an accident on the highway somewhere, I can't quite get home when I need to. I've got food, I'm not going to starve. Well, I was going through and checking them all. They're all fine, but my beef jerky, there's one bag that expires at the end of February. There's another bag that expires at the end of March. I'm not worried. Beef jerky lasts a lot longer than that. But I figured, hey, why don't I bring it out? I'm going to have a fire, boil some water, rehydrate one of those bags, and toss some beef jerky in it. So it's a nice, simple lunch and a nice, simple day. Now, in the spirit of it being a simple lunch, a simple day, I figured why don't we have a simple fire. I did a video on these just over a year ago, I think. It's called the Pull Start Fire. So it has a green string on one end and a red string on the other. So what you do is when you set up your fire, you wrap the green string around one of your logs. Let's see if I can't twist and snug that up a little. And then when you're ready to light your fire, you give a sharp tug on the red string, causes a chemical reaction inside the box, and it burns for about a half hour. So let's add an extra log here just to be safe. Are we ready? Let's give this thing a tug. In the idea of keeping things simple today, all I brought with me was my Stanley Adventure 2-cup cook set. I'm going to boil the water. I'm going to get my dehydrated bag going, and then I'll boil another batch of water to make some chaga tea. That should be enough water. I'm just going to let that burn a little longer until it can fall in a way that I've got a good spot that I can set this pot. I have the ReadyWise lasagna. These, the ones that I have, expire in 2036. So I got plenty of time to use them. But I've got a couple of bags of beef jerky that will expire within the next month or so. So I'm going to eat those and buy some fresh. They always have one of these little packets to keep the moisture out. You don't want to eat that, so you take that out. And here's the beef jerky. What I'm thinking of doing some of these pieces are a little bit big. So I'm gonna break them up and toss them in the bag. And when I rehydrate the bag, it'll rehydrate some of this beef jerky at the same time. Now, I'm not going to put the whole bag of beef jerky in here. That'll be too much. But we'll put in some, and then I can snack on the rest. Now, I think I'm going to put 2 of these logs here on the ground. So that when I put the hot water in the bag, I can set them on the logs. You keep them up out of the snow. Okay, I think it's safe to shake this down a little. I don't want to put it out. I just want to make a spot. There. Water's boiling. So I'm going to open up this bag, pour the water inside while trying not to burn myself. Okay, I left just a small opening in the center here so that I can massage this bag around a little without it blowing up. Seal it up tight. Flip it around a little. Shake the powder out of the corners. And now that's got to sit for, I think it's 15 minutes. So now we can put water back in and start boiling water for tea. So I was really impressed with how fast Nice Sea got a hold of me. And within 2 days I had the new frame. These chairs are very comfortable. I was kind of sad that it broke, but now that I've got the new one, things are all good again. We've been using these chairs for 8 months. We use them most of the summer. And then I've used it all winter, every chance I get. They're great to sit in like this. They're fantastic if you lean back. They give a lot of back support. And there's a pillow that I can hook onto the back of these. If I hook that pillow on, I'm going for a nap. They are really quite comfortable. But with the plastic connectors, at least I think that's what it was, is the plastic was too cold, and when I sat in it, it just couldn't handle it anymore. But that's the way things goes when you're out here. Sometimes everything goes well. Sometimes things break. You have to make do. But honestly, out here, even when things break, it's still a good time. We're still out here, it's still peaceful. Broken chair or not, there's always a way to find a spot to sit, or pretty well anything that breaks, you can find a way to work around it. And again, that's part of being out here, is being able to find a way to work around things when they don't go right. If everything in life went right all the time, a lot of people would have a much easier life. Water's boiling. I've prepared my little tea ball with some chaga. I'm going to drop that in there. Let that sit for just a minute or two. While we're waiting for that tea, we can snack on a bit of this jerky. I'm going to pull the tea off there. I don't want it to boil for too long. Now I can just let it steep for just a bit longer. Now let's pour a cup of tea. Oh, that looks beautiful. Wait, I remember last week. Let's wait just a little bit before I take a sip of this. The heat from the fire is melting whatever snow is landing at this end of the tarp, and it's running down and dripping at the other end. Perfect. So the tarp is doing its job. Now let's see what this is like. My spork is kind of short, and instead of spending the money to buy a long one, I just slice through the bag and cut it shorter. Here's a bit of that beef jerky. Oh. That was actually a very good idea. That's really good. And that Ready Wise lasagna, I've had that one before, and it's good too. I've tried most of these Ready Wise meals. They're easy to get a hold of. My local Canadian Tire sells them. I'm going to sit and enjoy my lunch. I'll bring you back in a bit. So in the spirit of keeping things simple today, Figured I would do the same with dessert and just pick up a Mars bar. Oh. Don't eat these very often because of the diabetes. But all this week I've been every now and then getting a low blood sugar. So I allow myself a treat once in a while. So I want to thank everyone who's subscribed to the channel. Some of you have been here for a long time. Some of you have just joined recently. You're all welcome. Everybody's appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, feel free to go ahead and do so. We always have a good time out here. We build fires, we camp out. Sometimes it's just a short lunch. But it's always enjoyable. It was never my intention to come out here today and burn every piece of wood that I cut last time I was here. That's not what this trip was about. I knew I was coming back here to have lunch, so I covered that wood with a tarp so that it would still be dry when I got here. Next time I come out, I will probably be in a different area. I don't plan on coming back here. I'm letting burn what's in the fire pit now. Everything that's left, I'm just taking my tarp home and the wood can stay. The next person that comes back this way will have a little bit of firewood to start. And if down the road I decide to come back to this spot, if nobody's touched it, I'll have a little bit of firewood to start. When I leave an area, if I have a bit of firewood left, I usually leave it behind for the next person. Every now and then I get lucky and I get to a spot and somebody left some wood behind for me. It's the way things go out here. We weren't supposed to get this much snow today. It's not a whole lot, but the roads were already starting to get slick when I got here. So I don't want to wait too late to head home. I'd rather go home before dark while I can see what's going on and make sure I stay on the road before they get a little too slick. I took a short walk a while ago. I forgot my Mars bar in the car, and when I went to go get the Mars bar, all the tracks I made coming in here were gone. So I don't want to stay too much longer. I'm not putting any more wood on that fire. I'm enjoying that. Finishing off the last of this tea. There's about a half a cup left in the pot. And then I think I'm going to head for home. What I'm probably going to do is pack everything up and put it in the sled and cover it. And then I'll take down the tarp. Because the snow's not stopping and that tarp's going to be wet. I'm going to have to dry it out when I get home anyway. So if I've got everything in the sled packed and closed and covered, that'll all stay dry and I can just carry the tarp out. So if you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. If you're going to do that, you may as well hit the notification bell. When you do, there will be a drop down menu. In that menu, select all, and that should let you know whenever we put out a new video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.